All right, SportsLine. On your television here on News Channel 5 Plus, Steve Lehman, Travis Haney from 24/7 Sports with you tonight. So much going on this week. And now we're already looking ahead to the NFL draft. It's only 4 months away, I guess, in Philadelphia this year. And because of that trade, you mentioned it earlier, that John Robinson executed last year when he traded down with the #1 overall pick, then back up to 8 to get Jack Conklin, got a bunch of other guys as well. And by the way, that rookie class, not just Conklin, Austin Johnson played a bunch at the end of the year. Derrick Henry obviously had a huge
Byard had his
Kevin
moments.
Byard was great. Tajay Sharp started much of the season at wide receiver. LaShawn Sims graded out as one of the best defenders on the team over the last few weeks. That rookie class played a lot. They're going to have the opportunity to change this roster again through free agency and the draft. Because of that trade, they have the Rams' first-round pick, which is number 5 overall. They will also themselves select 18. So you got 2 picks there in the first round. To me, I look at the secondary, which ranked 30th in the NFL against the pass, and I think you have to go cornerback somewhere, don't you?
Well, I listed in our pre-show about 8 cornerbacks that I think are first, second round quality, depending on how they grade out, how the combine goes. I think it's a really deep corner draft, especially with guys that you can take early. However, there's not one at 5 that I would feel very comfortable taking. So the one that you see most often, the one that I suggested on Sunday, whenever you found out it was going to be number 5, is Mike Williams at Clemson. Really big target at receiver. A year ago, out with a neck injury, comes back this year. I think he's got 1,100 receiving yards, and if I'm not mistaken, 17 touchdowns. He is the big play receiver that I think would satisfy what Titans fans want. And here's the reason, Steve, I think it makes sense. Last year, who'd you take with your first pick?
Jack Conklin, offensive line.
A guy who was going to make Marcus Mariota better.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do? What was the big offseason splash move?
DeMarco Murray.
A guy who can make Marcus Mariota in the offense better. I think this is another.
And an underrated one was Rashard Matthews, a wide receiver. And I think he complements him very well.
Absolutely does. Matthews a guy, smaller. You can line him up all over the field, third down converter kind of guy. This is the big play target. This is the Julio Jones, the Des Bryant, the A.J. Green, Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, that's the mold of this player. And I think you put him with a Matthews and a Sharp and a Delaney Walker in that run game, and you might be the Atlanta Falcons coming up soon. You might be the best offense in the NFL.
I knew I liked Mike Williams. He broke his neck a year ago and came back with a vengeance. Somebody I can relate to.
I didn't even put that together.
Somebody I can relate to. He to me, the more I watch him, the more I like him because of the size, the ability to stretch the field. To me, he's what the Titans don't have on the outside. As you look at those cornerbacks, though, because they just have to address it. I mean, Williams might be a flashy piece that you do at number 5. But at some point, you got to go after that cornerback because the secondary was dreadful this year. That is the one thing you can point to on this team that just has to be improved. Who are some of the guys that really catch your eye?
The top 4 that you see most often, and I've watched these guys quite a bit during the course of the year. One is Marshawn Lattimore, Ohio State. He's yet to come out as far as I know, but everyone anticipating that he will. Humphrey at Alabama, obviously what they do defensively is pretty translatable to the NFL, but he's their best cover corner. And then the 2 Florida guys, and these are the ones that you've heard probably most often, Jalen Tabor and Quincy Wilson. Mm-hmm. Both guys for Florida. So of those 4, probably somebody is going to be there at number 18. That would be my impression, that this is a late first-round kind of pick that you can have a choice of probably 2 or 3 corners that you really like. Again, let's go through the Senior Bowl, combine, interview, workout process, and figure out which one of these corners that they like best. A lot of mock drafts have Quincy Wilson, but I think you can just go with fit and feel depending on who you like.
What's going to be fascinating to me about the draft this year and watching John Robinson is last year it was very clear that they went in and said, what's the best value at this pick? whether that was 8 overall in Jack Conklin or it was the 5th round, it was, what's the best player here? Not necessarily what do we need here. Who's the best player that we can bring in? They did so well last year in the draft and in free agency. If we were having this conversation a year ago, we would be like, what are the holes? Everything is a hole. It's Swiss cheese. We just have to plug them all.
It is a lot more specific.
This year, other than cornerback, and I think you do need a wide receiver somewhere in the draft, and probably go after a safety at some point. I don't know. Interior line, maybe. I would spend a draft pick on some place there. Probably linebacker as well. But the holes are few and far between and much, much smaller now.
And at some point, you're picking luxury instead of need.
Depth.
And I still wonder at 5, let's say they work out Mike Williams and there's just something they're not really thrilled about. I still wouldn't be surprised to see John Robinson say, it's not a pressing need, but we think that Malik McDowell, the defensive tackle from Michigan State, we think he's the best player available. He makes our team better. Look what our defensive line did this year. We want to continue that. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
What about the possibility of another trade, too, in the sense that right now they don't have a second-round pick?
Right.
You move down from 5, perhaps. Maybe you grab 8, 9, something like that. You grab a second-round pick, maybe 2 second-round picks, or a second and a third or something to give you more chance to increase the depth on this team. That's what we're looking at, as opposed to trying to fill a bunch of holes. Now all of a sudden the Titans are trying to create depth on this roster, and that's a nice problem to have. Let's try and sneak in some phone calls here. Let's go to Michael. Michael, good evening.
Hello?
Hello, Michael.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing well. Thanks for the call.
I got a 3-part question, and one of them is what y'all's pick on the wild card this weekend on all 3 of them. The second one is do you think that when Dick LeBeau came down from the Steelers and helped the Titans defense out, do you think that made them a better team defensively this year or not?
I think when he came down 2 years ago, he definitely had an impact. And you can't argue with what they did up front this year. Second against the run, 40 sacks. But it's still not completely there because of the secondary. As far as the wild cards this weekend, I mean, I'll tell you this much. On Sunday, I like the red hot teams. I like the Steelers and I like the Packers at home. To me, those are teams that could both make a run out of wild card weekend and possibly contend for conference championships. The Saturday games, to me, have way less luster. I mean, I don't even care who wins Oakland, Houston. With those quarterbacks,
as you said,
you have no chance the next week.
You're playing at New England the next week.
No chance.
And it doesn't matter really who wins. You would be inclined to think Seattle would win the nightcap just because of its history in the playoffs.
Although, can they score at all? I mean, that's the thing about Detroit going in.
Yeah, but where's the game?
It's in Seattle.
I mean, I think that is the deciding factor, is how well they've played at home. But I mean, Green Bay, from the time that they played across the street, across the river here, to what they are now, I mean, they didn't look like they were going to be in the playoffs or anywhere near the playoffs when they were giving up about 30, 40 points a game. And I think they're ready for another run.
Aaron Rodgers has told everybody to relax. I got it. Back to the phones here, and Bruce. Bruce, good evening.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing well. Thanks for the call.
First, I want to answer a question. One of the folks asked about Butch Jones in the NFL. I say, hell, he has a hard enough time coaching the SEC, and I'm a ball fan. Now, another question. After comment on the Titans, it's our secondary that lost us those games. It's not our offense. So we have got to get better cornerbacks and/or safety. Thank you. Good show.
Thank you. Yeah.
No argument here.
It's hard to argue that. I will say that turnovers cost them a bunch of those games. And look, I'm as big of a Marcus Mariota fan as there is, and I think he was brilliant this year. The middle portion of the season, he was the best quarterback in the NFL, statistically.
After that, the Chargers game was...
The Minnesota game, he turned the ball over a bunch, cost him in a big way. the Indianapolis game at home, turnover late in the game that ends their chances to win the game, and the Chargers game. Obviously, 2 touchdowns get returned and 3 turnovers in all. Those are things that, by and large, this year he did a much better job of, but he's not immune to the criticism of these losses either.
No, and we have to see how he bounces back. I mean, this is a serious injury. I know we were texting when it happened during the Jazz game, and it would have been hard enough to lose that game, but to now kind of have that storyline playing out into May, June, whenever he can get back, you felt like you were going to be able to take a lot of momentum into the offseason, and then in one day you're just slugged right in the gut.
I said it Christmas Day during the show, I said the Titans game and Mariota's injury was the equivalent to waking up on Christmas morning and finding a lump of coal in your stocking and then realizing the house was on fire. That's how much it piled on to Titans fans.
I think I told you this. I feel worse. I'm not going to get any sympathy out there, but I feel worse for the Raiders because they were up 33-14 in a kind of meaningless moment in the game, and they were going to win their division. And with Derek Carr, I think we look at that. If they won and they played in New England, I think we look at that game very differently.
They had a shot.
Without him, you saw it last week. They're just not very good.
They may not win in Houston. All right, we got to take a break. We will come back. Huge sporting event tonight. Much anticipated sporting event in the city of Nashville. We were over there earlier. We'll talk about the scene for the return of the captain to Nashville next on SportsLine.